Hello, my friends. I want to show you today my refurbished NR6, Freed Eastman NR6 Neutrodyne radio. Take a tour here of the back of the radio first. The radio is a battery radio built in 1925. And instead of batteries, I'm using a battery eliminator by the company called Arby. That's Antique Radio Battery Eliminator. That's what RB stands for, and that's the name of the company. And they've got many terminals on it, and you can choose anywhere from the A voltage to the batteries, the 6-volt batteries, terminals to, and that's the terminals here. In the front here, that's for the A batteries, the filaments of the tubes, and B batteries here for the plates of the tubes. And there's anywhere from 22.5 volts all the way up to 135 volts. And of course, the negative terminals for the B plus, and the negative terminals for the A plus as well at the end here. And this battery radio, the NR6, takes the 90 volt terminal here at the top, the 45 volt terminal here for the first audio stage and also the detector, and here the A plus and B minus terminal, both coupled, and that's accomplished by this jumper wire that you see going here. Right along here, that's accomplished by the jumper going from the A plus to the B minus, and the last terminal down here at the bottom is the A minus for the filaments. And into this radio, I've got my Spartan horn that's operating beautifully. It's 1923 horn done by Spartan. It was gifted to me by an anonymous donor, and to this day, I still don't know who gifted it. It arrived one day in the mail. I'm a ham radio operator, and I imagine that someone on the list of ham radio operators that I talked to saw my love of antique radios and decided to send me a gift for Christmas, and I really appreciate it. So the Spartan is plugged into my NR6, and for an antenna, I'm using my one half of my long wave dipole, which I use for 160 meters, and this wire goes up to the holder up here for above my bench, my workbench, and the wire goes all the way down here to my shack. I'm a Drake aficionado. I'm running Drakes and Collins ancient boat anchors, and here's a wire for the antenna that goes all the way to my antenna switch, and it's plugged into one half of my dipole via this little tap that I have on the coax. Okay, so that's the setup. Now let me show you the front of the NR6. And excuse the light there, because I wanted to make sure that the front of the screen, by the way, there's the front of the bell of the Spartan horn. And I wanted to make sure that the front panel of the NR6 was well lit. And so I wanted to make sure that the light was associated so that there would be the minimum of reflections, because the front of these Freed Eastman radios are Bakelite, very nice high gloss, and they act as mirrors sometimes. So if you don't get the light exactly right, you'll get a reflection that looks almost like a mirror in the front panel. So let's take a look at tuning in some stations. First, of course, we've got to turn it on. So I will go back to the power supply and throw the switch. Okay, so the power supply is on. And unlike the earlier Freed Eastman NR5, which I have upstairs, which is perfectly running, by the way, this has an on-off switch. The on-off switch is right here. And what it does is it turns off the filaments. The B plus is always on. The only way I could turn off the B plus is to shut off the power supply, the RB power supply. But this is an upgrade from the NR5. The NR6 has an on-off switch that controls the voltage to the filaments. So let me throw that switch. And then you hear that the radio comes on virtually immediately. And that's the fact. That's because it's almost like as fast as a transistor radio. And that's because the O1A tubes in the set are thoriated. That is, they've been impregnated with a small amount of thorium. And for those of you who know anything about radioactive materials, thorium is a beta emitter. That is an alpha particle, and it doesn't penetrate anything more than paper. So it's not dangerous. O1A tubes are no longer dangerous. But there's a tiny bit of thorium in each one of the filaments, and that's enough to cause the beta decay, and the alpha decay. But the alpha decay generates what's called daughter particles, if I'm not mistaken, from my nuclear studies. And the daughter particles can emit beta particles, and of course, beta particles are electrons. So beta particles are being emitted, a very, very tiny amount, but it's enough to have enough cloud of electrons in the vacuum tube so that as soon as the filaments light, the radio comes on. Okay, so let's take a quick look inside of the NR6. Open up the cabinet, and there's the placard, which shows the Freed Eastman logo, NR6, and it's a five-tube Neutrodyne radio. Let's see if I can get a good shot of all of 5 tubes here. So there you go. There's all the 5 tubes. The two in front here that my fingers are pointing to are the audio tubes. The 2 tubes in second and third over there are the RF tubes, and the one very on the end over there is the detector tube. And this is a TRF, a tuned radio frequency set, and it is the Neutrodyne circuit. And the Neutrodyne was invented by Professor Hazeltine at the Stevens Institute of Technology, and they're just the bus bars with a little glass tubing on top. And what I've been doing the last couple of days is I've been moving the bus bars inside the glass tubes very slightly to neutralize the capacitance between the filaments and the plates of the RF tubes, and that cuts down on any heterodyne. So that's one thing that I've been doing. The other thing that I've been doing for the past couple of nights, since I got it from back from my friend Kevin in Putnam, Connecticut, who runs the repair shop that did most of the work on this radio. It's called his shop is called Antique Sounds and Radio Restoration. So Antique Sounds Radio Restoration, that's Kevin's shop, and he's done a great job. But the other thing I was doing is making sure that the tracking of all 3 tuners, the tank circuits, the tracking on the variable capacitors of the antenna tuning circuit, the first Neutrodyne stage circuit, the first amplification stage, and the second amplification stage, the second Nutra stage circuit is aligned as close as possible, so that when you tune in a station, the numbers are all very close, but they're never exact. No matter how much you tweak it, they can never be exactly the same. So with that, let's start tuning in some stations. Okay, so we want to tune in some stations, and in order to do that in these old radios, you have to have a lot of settings, and the best way to do that is to make a record book. And I have this handy dandy record book here from the RB battery eliminator people, and it's really great in that it gives you tables, all columns there for the 3 dial settings, and it lets you log the call letters of the station once you know them, and the frequency that you're at once you know them. And I put in a couple of extra columns. I put in a column for the volume setting and for the battery setting. I of course, have a column for what state the signal is coming in. And you can see there's some empties here. I haven't figured out what that station is at certain settings, but I will continue investigation, and I'll get that straightened out soon. But I didn't want to wait. Okay, so again, let's turn on the switch. That is the switch here for the on-off switch for the filaments. And again, the radio instantly comes on. So let's go and take a look-see at the low end of the frequency range of the broadcast band. There's a station that we get here in Connecticut from New York called WMCA. It's a station that is religious. It has religious banter all the time, but it's a good way to show you the sensitivity, selectivity on the low end of the band. Right now, I've got this set at the high end, and I need to move the dials according to the settings here. The low end of the broadcast band frequency spectrum is high numbers on these dials, because back in the 20s, the people always mainly talked in wavelength, and of course the high frequency means low wavelength. So that's why the numbers are high, because long wave, high numbers, short wave, low numbers. So that's how they thought back in the 20s. And so the numbers on the dials reflect the fact that when you're up at the high end of the numbers, you're at the low end of the frequency band. So according to the logbook I have here, in order to get WMCA, I should set my my volume setting here to about 15. Okay, so put it on 15, and I should put my battery setting on 12. Okay, there's about 12 right there. And my antenna tuning needs to be 88, so we'll bring that to 88. You can hear everything quiet now because we're off tune. The first Nutra stage, or first amplifier, needs to be at 84. 84. There we go, 84. 88. Sorry about that. I had the first antenna tuning at 78, not 88. I got it at 88 now. I got this at 84. Notice that the numbers are not exact. And then, of course, the final amplification stage needs to be close again, and that's at 88. And you could hear that there's a faint signal. So we'll tweak a bit here. I'm moving the dials just a bit. You can see how every time you tune, it changes a tiny bit. So, you know, it's just slight differences in the temperature, slight differences in the capacitance of your fact that your body is near or far from the radio, can make a big difference. Okay, but now we got pretty well tuned in. And it sounds like we have some kind of commercial on on this religious station for robotic surgery. Okay, so let's move right along and tune in another station. Okay, so let's take a station that is a little higher in frequency, or in other words, lower in band. Lower in wavelength. So in other words, since it's lower in wavelength, the numbers are going to come down. So let's take a look at the political station WOR from New York at 710 kilohertz. Okay, so I need to put my volume tuning on 9. 9, and I need to put my battery on 12. This is going to be a fairly strong station, as you can see. Okay, and now the first antenna tuning needs to go down to 53. There's 53. And the first amplification stage needs to be at 49. 49. And the last amplification stage needs to be at 55.
You have new mail waiting.
So there you go. WOR. And again, once you got it in, again you tweak a little bit. You go back, first one, move it a hair back and forth till you find a louder spot. And the same thing with the next one. And same one with the last one. Now that's WOR. And we get a little bit more volume. We could pick this up from 12, bring it up to 20 or so, the battery. But I don't want to distort. This is the entire, the battery is the entire set. Both the filaments for the AF tubes and the RF tubes are brightening with turning that up. The volume setting is only the RF tubes. Or I might have that backwards, excuse me. Again, the battery setting is for all the tubes, but the volume setting is for the filaments of the AF tubes. So that's bringing up the AF tubes only. And the detector and the RF tubes or filaments are still down. Okay. All right, so that's that station. Let's do one last station, and I think everybody's probably getting tired anyways, but let's do Winds 1010 New York. So again, we're going to go down in wavelength and up in frequency. So that means that the numbers on the dial are going to be lower. So I'll leave the volume control settings where they are right now and tweak them second. And I need to go to the antenna tuning of 30. Again, we're going to higher frequency, or in other words, shorter wavelength. So the numbers are coming down. And the 30 for the antenna tuning, 24 for the first neutral stage, 24 right there, and for the second neutral stage, the second amplification stage, we need to go to 32. Okay, it's 31. 32. All right. Going back, tweak a little bit. It's about 31 there. Second stage. 25. And tweak again. So that's about right where it was. Okay, bring up the whole set, all the filaments to about 25. So don't want to distort, and bring up the AF. All right, and I think my ham friend Loby, WA2AXE, would be happy to hear his favorite news station, Wins 1010 New York. So with that, I want to thank you for listening and watching, and I invite you to look at the notices below, the comments below, and please check out my other videos on my NR5 and my NR45, and I'll provide the links below. So with that, thank you and have a great day.